All right. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Letitia. I'm trying something a little different today. I thought I would, but I don't think it's going to work out. Anyway, I want to talk today about a few ways that you can sell and have really good experience at the farmer's market. I'm by no means an expert, but this is just a few things that I've learned since I've started. And for those of you all that have been following me for a while, or for those of you that haven't been, just a reminder, this is my first year managing a farmer's market. And but I've also been able to sell as well as a vendor at the farmer's market. And so I'm just sharing my experience. But when I say I did my research beforehand on how to sell at a farmer's market, everybody has their opinions, but I've definitely done my research, and everything or most things that I have found out in my research are very, very, very true. Okay, so I'm here to confirm those things, but also hopefully shine some light as well and inspire other folks to just try it. First thing is first, farmers markets can be and seem to be very intimidating for a lot of people, and including me. So I was like, I don't know enough. I'm not sure what to do. And so that's why I started to research. And I mean by research, just finding all the publications that I can find from our extension office, from our local universities, the Department of Agriculture, the USDA. We have an organization that helps with ag development, so your like business development. So I've reached out to them, the Small Business Association. Here, the Free Small Business Association, by the way, they do coaching services for free, so I didn't have to pay for any of that. Um, I also researched, did my YouTube searches and just Googled stuff. Um, so I am very, very excited to offer you all at least 10 tips on how to sell well at the farmer's market. And so first, decide what products you want to sell, obviously. Um, I'm a farmer, and I farm in an urban setting. And so, but up until I decided that I wanted my farm or my garden to become a market garden, I grew everything. Okay. And probably two or three, if not four different varieties of each crop. Tomatoes, I think, is where I spent my most time diversifying the crop. So I grew up to 6 or 7 different varieties, over 40 some plants, right? One in 1 year, one growing season. And then, but what I learned quickly is that for if I want to be successful, I cannot grow everything. And so I have to narrow that down. So I've grown up to 20 crops, different crops, and then times that by 3 or 4 different varieties on average. And that it was just way too much. So this year or last year, I decided that I was going to narrow it down to about 8 crops, focus on which varieties I wanted to choose, and grow those only. And so I can't tell you, I pretty much narrowed it down to tomatoes, peppers, beans, cucumber, some greens like collards, lettuce, okay, carrots, and I think I'm missing one. Oh, flowers. So I can say at least 7 different crops that I had in the garden this year. And again, I tend to diversify with the tomatoes. So I probably had the tomatoes. I grew Paul Robeson's, Sun Golds. It's like a plump. I don't know what the name of it is, but like a plump, a bigger cherry tomato, a red tomato, some currant tomatoes. I did not sell the currants at the market though. Those were for Little Big Girl Farmer to munch on. Oh no, I did sell. One basket this market, and I may share more about that later. But the bottom line is you need to narrow it down. And you need to do research. What sells well at the market is where you should start anyway, right? But people love to sell. If you have a niche like microgreens, there's a farm at our market that sells microgreens, and no one else sells microgreens at the market. So he's not competing there. But his prices have to be competitive because most of the patrons that we're finding out, but just simply asking, shop at other markets. And so that's something that you would think about. So first decide what products you want to sell and kind of hone in on just a few of those things. If it's candles, maybe you only do 4 or 5 cents. You just don't want to present everything. That could be overwhelming for you. It may be really incredibly exciting for the patron or your customer or your prospect, but it could be very overwhelming for you. Do your research. Like I said, price your items to sell, but remember your goals. Do you want to sell to make a profit? How much profit do you want to make? Or do you want to sell at a discount, or both? Establishing or building your clientele is important to be successful in your business, right? Because if you have a product that no one buys, then you're not going to make any money, right? And so sometimes you have to adjust pricing. You may try some things at the market and realize, hey, I can probably sell more if I discount just a little bit or offer like so many for so much money. So like, for instance, a pint of cherry tomatoes, I might offer $3 for those. Like, I'll price them at $3, but I'll do like, you can purchase 2 of them for $5. So, and it takes some time to get comfortable with that, but that's where, to get like some kind of bottom line or baseline knowledge, I researched. Okay. My local extension office provides publications on how to price. Some of those other organizations that I mentioned that help farmers with their businesses, I definitely took advantage of those. If you find yourself getting lost and stressed out about marketing and how to market your product, from the packaging to the pricing to how much you put in your packaging, just go back to your business plan and what your goals are and your vision is for your business. Always remember the big picture. But definitely it can happen, and it can happen more than one time. So don't be discouraged. Just kind of go back to the basics, right? Focus on why you are doing what you are doing, and then go from there. Start over if you have to. Okay. Your table display. I cannot tell you how important this is. People will probably visit you if you have a table, and it doesn't matter what it looks like. But what I'm seeing is, for my vendors, if their table is gorgeous and beautiful and colorful and organized and neat and clean, people are more likely to kind of go that way, right? Versus if you just have a table with no tablecloth, things are kind of just plumped down. There's no real order, or they have to kind of guess what your prices are. So if you don't have your prices on display, just too much work for them to figure it out. They're less likely to visit you or come back or be attracted, because we eat, we smell, we taste, we hear with our eyes first, believe it or not. Okay. All our senses. For some reason, our brain tells our eyes to filter all of those things, right? And so you want your display to be attractive. Think about height. How can you display things going up vertically? And that works in the garden as well. Visual effect. Well, I have 1 or 2 vendors that sell candles and things like that. But and beautiful table setting. I have one that didn't have anything but her product on the table, right? And a sign with the prices. But the other had a banner with her business name behind her. She had lights like flashing around her table booth area. She had incense burning. I mean, kind of set up this little micro experience, and it was so cool to see that. But that worked for her, and she did a lot of business and did really, really well. Um, you must stand up and speak to the people. A lot of videos that I watched said do not even take a chair. Now I have to take a chair because I have some chronic back issues and hip issues, and so I have to take a chair and sit down. But I only sat down when no one is around. If I see people coming, or they look like they're coming my direction, or they pop up in my face somehow and I didn't see them in the first place, I hope that I'm standing, right? And even if they're coming and they see you stand, they're like, okay, she's seen me, right? And they are less likely, I feel, to go another way. They'll still come over, even if they don't buy anything. Okay, they will still come over and view your table. It's okay if your prospects take their time, or your clients, potential clients, take their time looking around. Don't rush anybody off. And it can become like one of these things you don't mean to do when it starts to get crowded around your table. And so it's good to ask questions, not only greet your people that come up to your table, hey, how you doing? Hello, good morning, anything like that. But when they're looking, how can I help you is even a good follow-up question. Or, oh, I see you're looking at the black cherry tomato. Yeah, I've never seen that before. Oh my gosh, it is the juiciest tomato I've ever had, and it's sweet. And I'm not a tomato eater, but that's my favorite tomato, right? Try not to sound gimmicky, but give them an experience or something to kind of nibble on as they're looking, right? And so I try to share like how I really feel about the product, right? For And the black cherry tomato happens to be the topic of discussion at the table because people have never seen those, or most people have never seen a tomato that looks purple, other than maybe a Cherokee purple tomato, but not a cherry tomato that's purple. So it's really cool to be able to just give them a little something so they can kind of experience it without them knowing, like subconsciously. Again, people want to taste, feel, hear, smell your product. They want to see your product, definitely. So we talked about visual, but if you can give them all of that in a package, you got them in less than 30 seconds, right? So it didn't take me very long to say that. One time I had, I think a white cucumber, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it is so crunchy, and it has the typical cucumber taste, but I didn't realize how crunchy and fresh it was. And then it's white. Have you ever seen a white cucumber? And they're like, no, I think I want two, and I'm like, great. So just share just a little bit to kind of get them thinking about it, and then move on. Okay. Know your product and sell it to your customer. No need to sound gimmicky. We talked about that. 10 seconds or less. Okay. Smile, make money, and have fun. That's what you're there to do. You have to smile. Now, I know some of us are masking up when we're around big groups of people, but that's okay. People can still tell if you're smiling. They see it in your eyes. They see your eyebrows moving. They may see your cheeks rise. Use some of your body language, use your hands a little bit. Sometimes people aren't comfortable with their hands. Put them in your pocket, but stand up and use your shoulders. Just move your body. Let them know that you're engaged. You don't have to be over the top, okay? But just let them know that you're engaged and interested in whatever they have to say to you, okay? They want to know who you are, what your produce is, and how, and if want to buy it. So sometimes we can seal the deal on that. When we are gardening and we are farming in our spaces, that's what we do. We pull weeds, we prune prune plants, we try to get the rotted vegetables off. We do all that stuff. We don't have to do a whole lot of talking, we just do the work. But when you're at the market, you are selling. Okay. And a lot of people will say, well, I'm not a seller. Okay. Yes, you are. We sell more than we think. Just think about it. When you've watched a really cool movie, and you call your sister-in-law and you say, hey, did you get to watch such and such? And they say, yeah, girl, I saw it on the commercial, but now we haven't checked it out yet. Girl, you got to get this movie like ASAP, right? I tell people about the bang bang shrimp all the time. I have a cousin-in-law that makes bang bang shrimp, and it's delicious. I went to a restaurant that had something similar to it, so I was excited to tell my mom and to tell my other friends about this restaurant and the bang bang shrimp. I was like, y'all have got to, I mean, it is the crunchiest, most juiciest shrimp, and how it's juicy like that and fried, and then it has this delicious like sweet and spicy sauce. I will never know. And y'all got to try that bang bang shrimp, you know. And then what do? They go try the bang bang shrimp. So we sell all the time, okay? We sell all the time. So get out of that, okay? When something is good and something is great, we tell people about it, okay? So if you believe your product is good and your product is great and people must have it, then act like that. You know, walk in that confidence, at the bare minimum. And then you got to be comfortable speaking and telling people about it. So practice. If you don't know what to say, practice what you might say, okay? But the best practice is experience. The best teacher is experience. So just go to the market, learn. You will learn how to talk to people. You will learn how to stand and use your body. You will learn how to smile. You will learn how to present your product, okay? But it takes practice. So if you never go out there and do it, you'll never learn, okay? Have your licenses and your permits. If sometimes markets do require those and you have to show them, maybe the market managers have to have them on file. Some markets don't require them, but the thing that will shut you down almost always is if the health department shows and they ask you for your paperwork. So if you are processing food like baked goods, jams and jellies, if you're taking produce and making value-added products for your farm and your garden, you need to make sure that if you're going to sell them at the market, make sure that you have all your permits and your licenses, okay? Just for backup. So if they ask you, they're not going to shut you down and ask you not to come back to the market. They could ask you to leave right then and there, okay, to pack up your stuff and leave right then and there. So just make sure you have all your paperwork. Read and reread the market rules or market guidelines, okay? I have tons as a market manager, people asking me questions that are in the market guidelines, and you're always going to have that experience if you're managing markets, right? And people may have forgotten. That's fine. But you need to, as a vendor, you need to read and reread the market guidelines. And those guidelines and rules, or whatever they call them, regulation, is for you, okay? So you can have the best experience that you can have at the market, so you can sell your product and get as much business as you possibly can, okay? Some of that is for them, okay, as far as liability and things like that. But as a vendor, I want to pay attention to what the market is telling me, our customers, and then what the managers are having us do or not do, because I want to be able to come back, right? So even at the end of the market day, I'm cleaning up all my paper, mess, whatever debris I've left behind or have accumulated during the market. I'm cleaning all that up. Sometimes I've cleaned up papers and cigarette butts and things that are around on the ground even before I set up. So, you know, my granny and my mama used to tell me all the time, leave stuff the way you found it, right? And if it was a mess when you got there, make it better than what you found it. And so that's what I try to do as well. Okay. Let's see. I might have one more thing here. Yes, keep your space clean. And then also, when you are displaying your items, make sure your table looks as full as possible. Now, it's possible that you could start to sell all your product and you get down to a few things, right? And that's okay. But create some type of, again, think about visual stuff. So if you have 5 items on the table, don't spread them all out on the table. Maybe you put them all together, or maybe you put some up here and some down here, or whatever you can think of to make it look visually appealing still. Okay, so always keep your table stocked as much as possible. Hey, Purpose Gardens, good to see you. So those are my tips on how to sell at the farmers market. I'm so excited to be able to share that with you all, and I hope that you all have a great day. Stay tuned because I'm going to be pushing stuff out. Got a lot of ideas and a lot of video content coming up with that has to deal with the farmers market. I will be back very, very, very soon. Very, very, very soon. Thank you so much, Purpose Gardens. Good to see you. Have a good day.